In this video, we're talking about systems of inequalities. We want to graph this system of inequalities in the same coordinate plane, and the solution set will be where they overlap, where the systems actually, their shaded regions will overlap. So I'm going to graph both lines, and these are both going to be solid lines because you have equal to in both inequalities. So I'm just going to use x and y intercept. X intercept will be 4, y intercept will be 4. So here's my first line. Okay, so I have to decide which side I'm going to shade on. So I need a test point. Obviously, we see the origin. So if I say the origin x plus or 0 plus 0 is greater than is less than or equal to 4. So 0, that's true. So I will shade on the side where the origin is. This works really good if you have like colored pencils or at least graphite where you can turn your pencil sideways and use it that way. Okay, that looks like a mess, but let's do the other graph and see what happens. I'll do it in red. That way we can actually probably see some overlapping. So my x-intercept on that one would be 6. My y-intercept would be negative 3. Okay, there's the line we're talking about there. So I need to know which way to shade, above or below that line. Let's do a test point. Let's do the origin. The origin would be 0 is not greater than or equal to 6, so that's false. So I need to shade on the side that's opposite the origin. So the question is, where do the graphs overlap? I will trace it out in black. This is where the red and blue intersect. So this is the region we're talking about. All of the points in here that I'm shading in black, including the boundary lines, would satisfy the system of equations. Let's try another. Again, I'm going to use intercepts to graph, and on these we're going to use dotted lines on both because you don't have equal to on either problem. So let's do 4x plus 3y is less than 12, so I'm going to do x-intercept being 3, y-intercept being 4. Remember, it's going to be a dashed line. If we pick a test point, for example, the origin, 4 times 0 plus 3 times 0 less than 12. That's true, so we can shade on the side of the origin. Okay. And let's check the other. Okay, I'll do it in red. The y-intercept will be negative 4. The x-intercept would be -1. So on this one, we got a dotted line. If I pick the origin as my test point, true, we're going to shade on the side with the origin. So hopefully you can see the part where these are going to overlap would be between. So I'm going to trace that in black. And notice the dotted lines are not included in your solution. On this one, we have 3 inequalities going at the same time, so I'm going to do 3 different colors. The first one, x is greater than or equal to 0. We know that is the y-axis, so the y-axis is going to be a boundary equal to, so we're just going to and since it's greater than 0, we know that's going to be everything on the right side. Okay, x plus y is less than or equal to 4. So the x-intercept is 4 and the y-intercept is 4. And it's a solid line as well. And if I pick the origin, I would get a true statement. So I would shade on the side of the origin. So we already see where the green and blue is overlapping. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to use the red to kind of help me with this. 2x less than or equal to 5, so my x-intercept would be 2.5, or equal to as well. My y-intercept is 5. If I use the origin, 0, we'll shade on the side of the origin. So we want to find the area where we have red, blue, and green. Obviously, I'll trace it in black. It looks like red, blue, and green occur in this region. Okay. So let's try this last one. Got three different inequalities, four different inequalities going. And this one's kind of neat because these two statements right here are going to help us tremendously. X is greater than or equal to 0, y is greater than or equal to 0. That means it's going to occur all in the first quadrant. If X has got to be positive and Y has got to be positive, then we know we're just going to shade everything green in quadrant 1. So I can take care of those in one step. We actually like when it's going to be X greater than 0, Y greater than 0. Keeps it all kind of limited in what we can use. So in the first quadrant only. Okay? X is less than or equal to 4, so we know that's a vertical line, and it's equal to, so we know we're talking about just less than that line, so everything to the left. So we're talking about that rectangle so far. We got that. All right, and then in blue, I'm going to try to trace this line here. Your x-intercept would be 2, and your y-intercept would be 1. And would we shade above or below the line? That's the question. So if I do 0 plus 0 greater than, that's not true. So we're going to shade on the side opposite of the origin. So it's going to be this part right here where they all overlap. So I'm going to color blue everything that's going to overlap here. The green, red, and blue will all overlap in this region. Trace it in black so you'll see what I'm talking about exactly.